Okay.
Okay, good evening, fans from around the world. My name is Afolabi. The combination of high inflation and a cost of living crisis is putting immense pressure on everyday Kenyans, reducing their purchasing power and leading to widespread dissatisfaction. The government has just implemented a tax bill, proving a burden for the common man. Many of these points is what we're discussing this afternoon, as I'm joined here by Mustafa Jinodu and Kule Williams. Mustafa, you can take it up from here.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I took a look at the bill that they have. They're charging for taxes on cooking oil, on feminine hygiene products,
Basic amenities.
on basic amenities, things that people need to live. And that shows that the country has failed. They're increasing taxes by 16% on basic things. Ruto is a failure. And at the same time that the riots broke out, he sent Kenyan troops, not troops, Kenyan policemen. We also have to remember Kenyan policemen are killing Kenyans.
Yes.
Now they're sending them to Haiti to kill Haitians, and they're calling the Haitians gangsters. Now, there are gangs in Haiti, but Haiti is having what I would call sort of a civil war for sovereignty. And if you don't stand for who the U.S. appointed after the president of Haiti was killed and there were supposed to be fair elections, they call you gang member. The Haitian soldiers, the Kenyan policemen landed in Haiti. First thing that came out was did African tribal dance. Very disgraceful. Black men killing black men. Black policemen killing Kenyans, their national men. Now
Yes,
they've come to
disgraceful
Haiti
and
to kill black
embarrassing.
people on the behest of America. America says it wants to fight gang violence in Kenya. No, not in Kenya. That was a slip because that's where they need to go to fight the police that are killing people. They sent
But
to
why would they
since
send
when
Kenya to go and fight gang violence in
Haitians.
Haiti?
Oh no, I know why, Afalabi, because they care about democracy in Kenya and they love black in Haiti and they love Haitians. It's not because Haiti has speculated oil or minerals or they want another president after they got rid of Aristide in 1990s. No, it's because they care about black people, just like they care about people in Palestine. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ruto. Ruto, what you want to do to Haiti is what your people are doing to you now. They're turning your country into a bloodbath. Continue, Kunle. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Kenya is a country that these people are scary. I mean, I'm very scared of Kenyans. I mean, even look at their flag. It's like what do you call it? It's like a voodoo man's calling card.
Yeah, it has a lot of and also warrior like symbols on it. Yeah.
So as you said, there's a 16% hike. I heard about when it started, and someone was killed at the start of the protests. And I wonder what it is in the psyche. We had a 150% increase in the cost of living the day after Tinubu came to power, and currency hike, and petrol and all these things tripled in price. But
very quickly, for people who don't know, we're talking about Nigeria.
Yeah, we're not about Nigeria, but I'm just
no. You're right. I was just giving a message to our fans who may not know who Tinubu is. If you don't know who Tinubu is, you better learn. Go ahead.
Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. I shall say no more than that. I don't know what he's doing, but
I don't want to know.
President, so we have to accept it. And I shall not say anything that's going to get me into trouble with it. But yes, the Nigerian people, I'm surprised that they haven't rioted at 150% hike in the cost of living.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not poor, but I feel it. I mean, there's some days I'm scared. How am I going to pay my light bill? To be fair, they hiked the light bill up more for rich people than the poor. But still, everything else has spiked. And it's a worldwide phenomenon because I understand even in the West, the cost of living has skyrocketed. And it's a worldwide problem. And I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know whether it's the greed of the few that is becoming excessive to the point that the masses in the world, because I see this as a global problem, because it's not just Kenya.
Can I say what the problem is?
England, it's also South America. This country, what's this country that used to have
Argentina. Venezuela.
Venezuela. It's all over the world. I mean, everything is spiking. Nigeria, I
Kool-Aid.
mean, yes.
Can I say what the problem is?
Wonder what this problem is.
Can I say what the problem is? We've had a war in Ukraine. The U.S. is overextending itself in Ukraine. The thing in Israel, the U.S. dollar is beginning to collapse, and the BRICS nations are rising. And what happens is when the reserve currency of the world collapses, which is the U.S. dollar, any country that's dependent on it is now under more pressure because the IMF is calling in loans now because the U.S. wants to bolster itself because the dollar is going down. Wouldn't you agree? And that's what's causing the pressure. Yeah. Also, the cost of food has gone up since the Ukrainian war started 2 years ago because Russia is the one that has been supplying the world with grains, which speaks to where in Africa we need to become agriculturally independent. Continue, Kunle.
We can't. We can't become agriculturally independent because the IMF and World Bank will not allow us.
And I think that's the answer. Grain. So the answer is IMF and World Bank. That's the answer to your question.
Yes. If we grow, what they do is that they force us to buy grain from the West. And they force us to buy the cash crops that they want. And they don't allow us to grow grain in the commercial amounts that we need to be self-sufficient on food. And obviously, when we take these loans from the World Bank at heavy cost and suffering, it goes into the hands of the politicians who promptly take it back to Europe and dump them in Swiss bank accounts again.
Yes. And sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Of the West.
I will let you continue. Then after you do that, you now charge your people extra taxes on basic foods. Continue. Yeah.
Yes. So these people are stooges of the West. The Westerners are saying people are bad leadership, people are monkeys, but actually, if you try to get a good leader in the global South, they will kill that person or destroy
Gaddafi, Lumumba. Need I say more?
The list is endless. The list
Cabral,
is endless.
Thomas Sankara. Go ahead. Sorry.
And what is even more depressing is that the masses in the West don't actually know that they are dependent on the resources from these countries that they're robbing. And they've been going far right, saying, we don't want you in our country, we don't want you in our country. But yet these countries are wholly dependent on Africa for all their economic and also needs when it comes to minerals.
Sorry, hold that thought. So when you now take all the resources like France does from all these countries, now that you've taken the resources from those countries, those people are up in upheaval. Now they have to come to your country where you have the wealth, that's their wealth. Continue.
Yeah, so what's happened like with France now, I think that with France and Niger withholding the uranium, it's had an effect on the economy. It's made it more difficult. So European economies have become more difficult because of the Francophone movement. And as a result of that, and they're also seeing an influx of refugees. So they're assuming that they're poorer because of the refugees coming in. They're cognitively dissonant of the amount of money. When they say the America and West gives aid, their concept of aid is they're giving most of their money to poor Black and Middle Eastern countries. They don't actually know that they're giving most of their money to war.
And NGOs which destabilize the country.
To ordinary bazookas that cost $30,000 bazookas, $100 million aircraft, $10 million bonds. That's where their money is going. That's what they call aid. And then they complain about Syrian refugees after bombing the hell out of Syria. Nobody wanted to come to Europe before they bombed the hell out of Syria.
Or same thing with Libya too.
Yes, but they managed to keep their masses from actually understanding what's going on. And they tell them that, it's because it's a Muslim country and they're suffering and they don't like the Muslim law of chopping your hand off and raping 9-year-old children because Muhammad did so. And that's what they believe is the reason why these Muslims run to Europe and then say, I want to turn Europe into an Islamic state. These are the same people that say, if you come to our country, you must assimilate. But at the same time, I went to St. Saviour's Ikoyi. We had Guy Fawkes bonfire night.
Me too, Guy Fawkes Day. And in Nigeria, we still have Boxers Day.
Yeah. I thought that everybody in Nigeria celebrated Guy Fawkes. I didn't know I was the only weirdo in the whole of Africa practicing this.
Thank you, Kunle. We're going to come back to you. Let's get Afolabi and what are your thoughts, Afolabi? But you're right. Guy Fawkes Day, Boxer Day, bonfires and stuff. I went to St. Saviour's too. Also, when I went to Zimbabwe, when I was in Harare, I went to a British school, Guy Fawkes Day. Come on, man. Who's Guy Fawkes? I don't know no Guy Fawkes, man. Go ahead, Falabi. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, you can't blame these protesters because the government
I don't
of
blame the
Kenya,
protesters. I don't blame
the
them.
government of Kenya has failed them catastrophically. I mean, inability of government to pay salaries highlights a lot of issues. You know, there's a collapse in public services. There's a debt burden on the government. A lot of services are not being rendered. So you can see the anger in those people. They actually went to the parliament building and burnt some parts of it. And to manage
Yeah.
such crises, I didn't expect Ruto, in his own wisdom, to ask the police to begin to shoot Kenyans. I mean, these are Kenyans killing Kenyans. And Kenya
Okay, but
is
hold
on
on,
the,
Afolabi.
yeah.
Afolabi, hold that thought. And how ironic, on the same day he sent Kenyan policemen to go and shoot Haitians, whether they're gang members or not. Haiti is a sovereign country. What gives you the right to send policemen into Haiti to fight them?
Kenya is a
Because
slave state.
it's a slave state. They did it for the US and for Britain.
Yes,
Yes.
Kenya is a slave state. Has anybody been to Kenya? I've been through Kenya
I've been to
on
Nairobi
transit.
once.
Yeah,
Nairobi
I went.
once.
I
Yeah.
not. I didn't enter the town. I didn't go into the town, but I passed through the airport. And when we passed, it was during just before, around not COVID, the one before COVID, Ebola.
Yeah.
That Ebola thing.
Yeah.
And the
That was in
at the
2015.
top. Yes. So the airport was like the nice part of the airport looked like anything you see in Europe and America. But because we were coming from West Africa, we had to go to another part that actually looked like Calabar local airports in the 80s. Sweaty and horrible. And you know, and the difference is clear. So and the things that they had, the
It
kind
looks like
of
Obalende. It looks like Obalende.
and even though we have classy places to shop, even in Nigeria, Lagos, what they had in Kenya was for a larger contingent of Westerners. They had more shopping for Westerners in Kenya and Nairobi than they do in Lagos because they have a larger influx of Westerners who come to do mostly safari. So it's basically Kenya is basically safari for Westerners. So it's actually another type of neo-colonialist
Yes, I
colony,
quite agree with
which is
you.
why
And that was
yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. Sorry to cut you short. Apart from
No, you're good. Don't worry. Don't worry.
apart from their tourism industry, which generates a lot of income for them, and like their posh hotels are basically for Westerners.
Yeah.
The Kenyan people themselves are impoverished. They don't have
And also,
money.
I think Kenya has, they have
They're
mining.
hungry.
They
They
also
don't
have
have
some
money.
mining minerals.
Yes,
Yeah.
just a little bit, but I think it's the tourism that attracts a lot of capital into Kenya.
Yeah.
You can imagine under this Ruto's government, a lot of salary payments are being delayed. You know, there's a crisis. The country is on the brink, and protesters come out to show their anger. You now increase taxes by 16%. That is ridiculous. Only for the government to now start killing Kenyans to try and quell the problem. I think it's just the beginning of a large-scale, full-blown regional problem for Kenya. And
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. And I'm not going to talk too much about Rwanda, but Rwanda has the same thing. Rwanda is accepting African immigrants who are kicked out of Britain. So we don't want you. We want Ukrainians, we want Arabs, but we don't want Africans. So what I'm trying to say is that we've seen this in the eastern part of Africa with Tanzania and Kenya and Rwanda, in which they're doing a lot of policies which are in line with what their Western masters want. What do you think, Afolabi? Then we'll go to Kule.
And I have a problem with Rwanda thinking in that direction. Because after all what happened in 1994 during the genocide, knowing that the resentment between Tutsis and Hutus was planted centuries ago by the Belgians and the French, I wouldn't expect that after coming out of the ashes of that genocide, that Rwanda will begin to tolerate this kind of mess in their country. That the last country
No,
I
they're
would
doing it
imagine would
because the US and the West are giving them money.
Yes, because the US and the West are supporting them. I think they should learn from history, really. I don't expect Kagame to be doing this kind of thing.
It's corruption. It's corruption.
Yeah,
And the one thing I say, yeah, and we're going to go back.
I'm
Go ahead,
concerned about Kenya's problem because Kenya's main thing is tourism. Now, if your country's main income is oil or minerals or agriculture, then whether there's stability or instability, if your government can continue its work as functioning, you can continue generating money. If this instability gets out of hand in Kenya, the damage will be exponential because to be an attractive destination for tourism, you must have safety. in your borders, and you can't be
Yeah.
walking around being scared about instability and stuff like that. So the damage that's being done is actually exponential. Because I mean, once people start saying, "Don't come to Kenya right now," it's a bit dangerous. It becomes an immediate problem.
I won't go to Kenya. I won't
yes.
go to Kenya. I hear that in Kenya, policemen rob people on the highway and kill them
You can imagine
and
that.
execute them.
You can imagine
I won't
that.
go to Kenya.
You know, Nigerians have a worse reputation. Although I'm not scared of Nigerian police most of the time.
No,
We
which
have a
one
worse
day?
reputation.
No, but
Weekend,
Kule,
weekend, which one day?
the same thing is happening here now. That was what started the SARS
And
anti-SARS
SARS.
stuff. Yes, and
But
SARS.
I do
Yes.
think that Afolabi, I think that Nigerians, as in general, we're not violent people. The police are corrupt. They're like, which one day? And they'll shake you
Exactly.
down.
The
And
police
but
is just a
they
tool
don't.
for oppressing the populace and the masses.
Yeah, yeah. So let me add
And I
one
don't
more
know
thing.
I don't know the culture of Kenyan police and the level of corruption.
No, they're very
I've
bad.
really
Kenyan policemen are mafia. They are mafia,
okay, I
from
don't
what
know
I've
how
heard.
corrupt are they like Nigerian policemen always begging you for bribe?
No, they're worse. What they do is they take drug dealers or criminals and shoot them and then take the money and then they disperse it. And they also, if you don't have money and something, they say that you were a criminal and they shoot you if you don't give them. So what I'm trying to say is that they are actually psychopathic. Nigerians are corrupt, but not psychopathic. And I'm
No,
not
they're
saying
not.
Kenyans are psychopathic, but the Kenyan
The
police
Kenya
has
police are
become very
psychopathic, yes.
brutal.
Yeah, very brutal.
They're psychopathic. Yeah. Nigerian is not psychopath, which one day, that type of thing, shake you down, give you trouble. And I think it's because Kenya has nothing else. They don't have oil. But what I want
And
to
the
say is that
West will continue to
Kenya
support people
has,
like Ruto to win elections, even if they have to do it in a corrupt way.
yeah, because they keep them in power. Yeah. So this has been a good show. We're going to round up very soon, but I want to say that on the same day that Kenya sent policemen to Haiti to stop unrest, unrest now came to Kenya. It's very symbolic. What do you think, Afolabi? Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. And it's just what goes around comes around, basically.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it's God. Maybe it's God. Maybe it's
they're having a taste of their own medicine, basically. Why would
maybe
you
it's
send
God or
Kenyan
maybe it's
police?
karma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, it's karma. Why would you send Kenya police to go and resolve crisis in Haiti? You are putting
And
the
you have
Kenya
crisis
police
in your
at risk,
country.
and you have crisis in your country. There's poverty. There's debt. I heard that there's a $2 billion euro bond that they have to liquidate soon. That's a financial challenge for the government. They're paying salaries delayed. There's a lot of public services that people are on the brink. People are frustrated. They have to show their frustration one way or the other. And the last thing you would do is to open fire on your own people. No matter what the West
No,
is
don't do
doing,
that.
I think it was a wrong move by Ruto.
It was a wrong move, and it makes them look very bad. So thank you very much, Afolabi. This is a great show, and we didn't know that it was going to lead to this type of discussion. Kunle, can you take us out with a few things before we leave? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yes, the country with a flag of witch doctor's calling card, which I like always. I'll never stop saying that. I do worry for Kenya, but what they did by sending troops to Haiti, is very much the kind of thing that Nigeria would do. Kenya has a lot of similarities when it comes
yeah,
A lot of
Kunle, we came close to
There are parallels in
Kunle, sorry.
Nigeria as well.
Kunle,
Yes.
sorry. We came close to sending troops to Niger to help France. Thank God we didn't. Thank God we didn't.
That was a ruse. We were scared. What happened there was we didn't want to do anything, but the US and France leaned on us and threatened us. And we were like, okay. And then we were like, everything that we did that was hostile, from blocking the river, from blocking electricity to Niger, to threatening to send troops, that was all a ruse.
Yeah.
We were never going to do
Thank God. Thank God. And can I say something?
We were being intimidated and shaken down to do that.
Yeah, thank God. Can I say something, Kunle?
Not Tinubu, but the other politicians.
Yeah. Can I say something? Thank God. When Murtala Muhammad was in office, he was a Pan-Africanist. He said that if South Africa flies a plane over Nigeria, the white South African government, he will shoot it down, or Rhodesia. Nigeria has never laid hands upon another African nation, only with the thing in Liberia, which was peacekeeping. Continue. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I have to call you back. I have a business call. Like I said earlier.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. We're good. We're good.
Lerato,
So Afolabi
is in the house. Moose.
Okay, so Kunle is off. Lerato, welcome back.
Can you put me on mute?
What's good? Just
put Kunle on mute. Put Kunle on mute. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Lerato, we're talking very quickly. Hold on, okay. Afalabi, have you noticed that every time we want to leave, the person shows up like Biodun? And then we have to continue. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Lorato, welcome. We don't have much time, but we're going to give the spotlight to you. On the same day that Kenya is sending policemen to fight Haitians and call them gangsters to do it for the US, they're having revolution in Kenya because they're taxing food, oil, bread, feminine hygiene products because they are a failed nation which belongs to Britain and America. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Salim, not Salim, Lorato, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like this protest has become some kind of like it's President Ruto's Marikana almost. You know.
Yes. On the same day that he wants to go save Haiti from so-called gangsters to preserve American-led leaders who are now in Haiti after the U.S. was behind the assassination of Haiti's leader.
Yeah.
It's very ironic. It's almost like juju, to be honest with you. Continue. Sorry to interrupt.
It's very insane. It's very insane to see. And then there's of course the fact that this is happening. I don't know where the African Union is.
There's no African Union. There's no African Union. Go ahead.
Of Haiti. Why is there no agenda or no memorandum that's being released by the African Union to say what are we going to do about Haiti? Why must these orders be coming from Biden? You know.
Can I say one more thing before you continue? I've argued extensively that Haiti is an African nation because it's not just about the landmass of Africa. It's about our mass of individuals. So to me, Brazil, Haiti, Cuba, the Black people, they are actually part of the African Union. Continue. Yeah.
Of course. And I know that conversation has been happening to say we should institute and allow Haiti into the African Union. And when you think about it, just not long ago, Naledi Pandor was up in arms, expelling Israel from the African Union.
Yeah, why should Israel belong to the African Union? I don't understand that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Even as an overseer, what are they doing? Even as an overseer?
Yeah, they expelled them. That means they're an overseer because they are there as vigilantes for the West.
Exactly.
Pitbulls for the West.
So this idea of independence is a farce because now we still have to deal with Western prefects in our own agendas, and of course, like I'm saying, this particular issue of Kenya actually shows up and actually dictates to us that the African Union is not doing enough.
It's lost. And once again, I'm not a fan of Gaddafi because I'm not a fan of people who use violence to rise. But since Gaddafi passed away, there hasn't been proper leadership. And also Zuma refused to sign on to the no-fly zone in Libya, which means Zuma was trying to find a solution to save Gaddafi. And he was a great person. Also, what's his name? Mbeki. So what I'm not saying those guys were great, but they did have Pan-Africanist roots. Now we don't have any Pan-Africanist roots with any of our leaders in Africa, except for maybe Nigeria and those countries. But those guys are more like military leaders. What do you think? Yeah.
I mean the Sahel is taking a really different direction, and it's almost, I mean, you don't want to say it's regrettable, but you look at the dynamic that all these guys, like you say, are military leaders, and then you wonder if that's what it will take for African countries to sort of
we don't want to become authoritarian like that. We might have to, but at the end of the top, military people don't really care about the well-being of the country. They protect its sovereignty, but they're not what we need economically or culturally, because we need to be decentralized, kind of like KwaZulu-Natal needs to have its own decentralized power, and military people don't tolerate that. So it's kind of like, it's not as bad as colonialism, but it's not good. Continue.
But I mean, if we look at what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso, he's really implementing some revolutionary projects.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
good. He's good. You're right.
What
He's
So that's
he's
why
done
continuing.
I'm
is he's banned
saying,
pornography.
Oh, don't worry about
yeah,
that. We'll worry about that later.
I'm not going there then.
Yeah.
yeah,
All
He's
right,
doing
cool.
some good
I'm not
Let
things,
him
going
continue.
actually.
there.
He's
Let him
doing some
continue.
good
That's
things.
a joke, but let him continue. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean,
It's not, it's
some of the
true.
programs are really progressive, but it is this regrettable picture of a military leader who's has to push these programs.
Instead of our cultural and traditional leaders and our social activists, continue. And
Yeah,
our
yeah,
people. Our people should be the
yeah.
government. The people should be the
And,
government. Yeah.
and people on the ground. But of course, I mean, he comes on the on like, you know, he steps on the footsteps of Sankara, so we
Yeah.
understand why the kind of posturing had to be taken.
No, it has to be taken because I've argued before that I don't believe in military power, but that's the first step for us to fend off the West and to fend off other people. We need to have military. That's why every
Yeah,
culture has its warriors. But continue. Sorry. Yeah.
for sure. So we wait to see what will happen
Yeah.
when you know. But also the other thing that these African leaders did is that they left ECOWAS, which I mean economically is you know, it's an interesting move. I'm not sure what the implications will be in the long term in terms
They
of
had to leave ECOWAS because ECOWAS is funded by Western money, which will never be pro-African as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, continue. Maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong
yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah, but the
It can
impacts
be.
of it
It can
on
become pro-African.
So what you're saying is that we shouldn't get rid of ECOWAS or leave it. We should transform it. But I think at that moment things were too hot because of France and Britain. But yeah, continue. You're right. Thank you for that, Kunle. So we're gonna go to back to man, I can't believe this. Lerato. And then to Kunle, what you said, Kunle. So Lerato, finish up your thought, then we'll go to Kunle. Yeah. About the ECOWAS.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what that implies in terms of economics on the ground, because it might, to use begrudgingly a Western example, you know, it might feel and seem and have the same impact as a Brexit on the
Yeah.
smaller business.
So thank you
Yeah,
because you brought up a very complex thing in which we have to think
yeah,
about it
yeah,
to answer the
that
question.
that are trading
Yeah.
across borders.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's regrettable to see what's happening in
Yeah.
Kenya, and of course now this sort of compromises the eastern coast of Africa,
Yeah, especially
because
where
you have
Eritrea, where there's problems in Eritrea, Ethiopia, Rwanda.
exactly
It's a very unstable area.
Rwanda and
Yeah.
yeah. So I think there are a lot of compromises that are showing up in that area that I think maybe we have to take a closer look at. And yeah, somehow there has to be lobbying to the
Yeah. And
African
once
Union.
again, it goes down to citizens, not only within South Africa or Nigeria at the ground level. Citizens at the ground level also have to be connected pan-Africanly to all of the common people and the poor and the working class throughout Africa. Because once we
For
start
sure.
to deliberate, we can push our governments to do the right thing. It's like what's happening in Kenya. The people are revolting because you can't be putting tariffs on cooking oil.
For sure.
So thank you very much, Lorado. And also you added a very good dimension. And Kunle added a good point. He said ECOWAS can become what it needs to be. Kunle, can you give us more enlightenment on that? And
Yes,
we'll head out in about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, I understand the Burkina Faso leader had also survived several coup attempts. So that might be
Yeah.
part of an indirect reason why he's cautious of ECOWAS. But if you look
Yeah.
at the United Nations was set up as a weapon of the United States. It is now beginning to turn on the United States
The
itself.
tides have turned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, anything can happen. You can start something badly, but it doesn't mean it's going to finish badly. So ECOWAS can become something positive because of the fact that it's trying to create an area where you have free travel, free movement, free trade. And it makes that region more self-sufficient from the rest of the world, which is so important. The drawback is that it's being sponsored and being made a collective slave to the West. So it's efficiently being trained efficiently as a unit. in the West. But that infrastructure is there for it to now not be trade, but to nurture itself and to grow itself. And what's going
It'll
on in the
take time.
Francophone region is very important of
It'll take
sub-Saharan
time.
Africa.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the thing because once again, I'm not trying to kiss the ass of China and Russia, but they've been pumping a lot of money into the Sahel area to these people to become sovereign because they want to have a world in which there's trading blocks. And so Africa needs to become a trading bloc through ECOWAS and African Union.
We
Okay,
have
and
to be
everything.
careful not to become what the Middle East is, because the Middle East is basically China and Russia trying to go influence in one place, and then they meet the West, and then they fight, and then they say, oh, the Muslims and the Arabs are fighting their
Yeah.
psychopaths, but really, it's no Arab ever invaded anywhere in Europe until the
Yeah, but
dawn
cool, I
of
can
the
add one point. The problem in the Middle East, though, which is different from in Africa, is that this divide between the Shiites and the Sunnis, it's horrible, and it's making them divided because there's no reason why Saudi Arabia should not be helping Palestinians, and why
follow the money. Who's arming the Shiites? Who's arming the Sunnis? And I'm sure that
it's America and Britain.
are either made in Russia
Yeah,
or in America.
it's proxy wars. It's proxy wars, basically.
Proxy wars, and Russia. I'll tell the truth. Russia is involved in proxy war too, and they're not saints. They are not saints. But thankfully, yet Russia has never taken a bad step against Africa, but I think they're doing that because they know Africa has resources, so they want to have good credit with Africa. They helped Mozambique, they helped in Angola, they helped in South Africa,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's because they like it.
China wants to make money. Russia wants to give you weapons. So I prefer China. China is more about wealth.
But what I'm saying is that Russia is careful. So Russia is like a chess master. They don't want to go down in history as doing something bad to Africa because they know Africa is a resource-rich place, and they want to contrast themselves with the West. So it's not like they like Africa, but it's like, see what the West did to you. We never did it to you. You are our friend. It's they have a gameplay. But also quietly, they are sending weapons in Africa, but you can't trace it. You can't trace it. They sent a lot of weapons to the Sahel, but you can't trace it. So thank you guys. I'm gonna we have about 4 more minutes before we go. Do you have any last statements, Lorato, before we go to Afolabi to end us? Yeah.
I think we can shoot straight to Afolabi.
To Afolabi. So Afolabi, take us out because we got to go because I know you have a Formula One show in a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to say when ECOWAS was created, it was supposed to be ECOWAS is Economic Community of West African States. It was supposed to be a community. Now we don't have a community anymore because it's all about personal interests that don't align. Everybody is now selfish, and the common denominator is corruption. So ECOWAS does not work anymore for anybody.
Afolabi, sorry, because I want you to end. Afolabi, I want you to end. We also have to remember that the other ECOWAS nations turned on Nigeria and those countries because they turned against France. So they allowed France and Britain to dictate ECOWAS policy. Continue.
Yeah. I agree with you. So that's exactly what I'm saying. So all these United Nations and ECOWAS is just a puppet sideshow for the Western countries to control and coerce African countries for their own personal, interests. So basically, that's just what I want to round up with. It's been wonderful talking to you guys. We hope for our Kenya brothers that the situation improves and the government listen to the people and scrap the tax increase entirely. So we'll do this again, maybe sometime next week or this weekend. So it's been wonderful talking to you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay. And thank you also. Evening. Also, good luck to Haiti. Also, we love Haiti also, which is part of Africa. Sure. Good night. Yeah. Good night. Okay.
So see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Sure.